Welcome everyone to my chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. International Master William Paschall. We're streaming on Twitch. My account there is Slaggy. We're playing my Weird Wednesday stream, which is basically Blitz and classical chess with unusual openings, stuff I normally wouldn't play within my usual repertoire. You guys are welcome to challenge me to anything between 5+3 and 8+3, and we've got a number of challenges already. Yesterday we had a viewer tournament here on Tuesday night, and that was a 5+2 time control. That's the longest, or the biggest increment allowed, 5+2. I'd like to make it like 5+3 or 5+5, but impossible to change it. Nefedov, Troll in a Roll, and Lousy Dirty Cheater. I'm not really warmed up yet, guys, so take it easy on me. Alright, Nefedov. I'm supposed to play unusual openings. I have some ideas. Nefedov plays e4. I played 34 games against Nefedov, so I've tried most of my repertoire against him. I do have a lot of different stuff that I play. Let's play something within the Pirtz realm. Nefedov has he has a very classical approach with the white pieces. I was going to go with something that I never play, basically. The check or triple defense with c6. Oh, he seems to know this. Uh-oh. He's like well prepared with this move. Okay. Now I guess e5 is possible, but the main line is queen a5. Nefedov just dropped the e4 pawn. That's the point here. We just lost a challenge. Troll in a Roll, you can challenge me to the chess 960 if you want to. I'm feeling pretty liberal today. I know sometimes in the past I haven't let you, but is this a gambit? I'm asking this question like a little bit late now. Is this an intentional pawn sacrifice? Nefedov? I can't believe that it's really sound. Do I lose a tempo here or just take and try to develop my pieces? Welcome everyone. International Master William Paschall. We're just waking up. I'm a little bit groggy. Alright, I'm going to play g6. Usually the fianchetto is the safest type of structure. White has some compensation. I'm not interested in the second pawn. I guess a purist, a pure materialist would think about this, but I think my queen is a little too close to getting trapped there. Queen takes, check, bishop d2, queen a3. I really have no squares for the queen. Okay, a4 maybe. It's just very awkward and would require a tightrope routine for black, so I'm going to pass on that. I'm a little bit worried about my e7 pawn here. We do a hit and run where we grab a pawn and come back. I've never seen anyone sacrifice this pawn, but I'm not an authority on the Pribble defense. But bishop d2 looks a little bit. It looks a little bit slow. Now I don't have to play queen c7. I could try something like bishop g4, although I like this bishop. It's guarding the b7. It has a lot of potential. This is a bishop that's actually pretty good from its original square. So it's morning. I know you guys have not been turning out in droves in the morning. Let's check. Can we open a new link? Let's see if our stream is up. You have a game in progress. Join the game. You can't start. I don't want to start a new game, dude. I just want to I just wanted to see if my stream was up, but it's not. Is it not showing up on? I can't see it. Is the stream up? F5. A second pawn. Damn. It's a principled approach to take a second pawn. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Knight h4, e6. Well, it is a pretty strong attack there. I think I'm going to decline the second pawn. World Loser, what's up? Do you see the stream on lichess? Because I am not sure. I don't see my stream. Chess.org. Oh my god. No wonder. It's a new site called chess.org. Whoops. Alright, the stream was not up on lichess because I typed chess.org. Anyway, I knew there was something wrong. It's not chess.com, it's not lichess.org, it's chess.org. I wonder if that even exists. Chess.org. On lichess.org. He's got good compensation. I mean, this is almost making you wonder, like, does this pawn sacrifice give him legitimate compensation? Straight up. Did he do this on purpose? I don't think so. I mean, it is central pawn. But he has some good practical comp here, definitely. White's very coordinated. The minor pawn weakness on the c file doesn't really matter a whole lot. Sorry guys, I forgot to put lichess in the title of my stream. So we were not up on lichess until just a moment ago. Weird Wednesday, I'm playing unusual openings. I played the Czech defense, or Pribble, named after the Czech grandmaster. The Czech chess grandmaster. A lousy Serdi-deater, dirty cheater. G4, Nefedov. Now that's going kind of far, isn't it? Man. G4. I may have to plan on castling queenside. Unfortunately, h5, pawn takes g6 is not good for me. I figured he could sacrifice a piece. If I play h6 and close it up, h6 and g5. Alright. I mean, he could do like knight takes f7, king takes f7, g5. That's basically, I mean, that's basically an exchange of pieces, essentially. But I'm a little bit concerned about this. This is getting out of control. Castling queenside is dangerous for black too. It looks like he has really legitimate compensation here. Castling kingside. Maybe it's still my best option. I don't know. Queen e1 is coming, followed by queen h4. I can do h6, g5, weakening my position. May not be that bad. Takes, king takes, takes. He'll probably just retreat. World Loser, what's up? Yesterday, you missed the viewer tournament, man. I'm sorry. It was a very lopsided affair with this new account. That same guy just won every single game last dance. I think it's don't do it again with a new account. The openings are the same repertoire. I finished third. Aldisto was fourth. Let's see. Oh, Unicorns played from the US and he finished second. He did well. I didn't actually get to play him. I lost against Last Dance in the first round, and I had a draw with Aldisto. Alright guys, this looks pretty scary to me, but I don't know about the piece sacrifice. That's unclear. I think he should just really objectively retreat. retreat his knight. It's not necessary to do anything nuts here. White's got like positional compensation for his sacrificed pawn. I think you shouldn't take a risk unless it's really clear that it's to your advantage. Of course, it would be scary if he sacked a piece with like knight takes f7, but he doesn't, you know, have any like clear win after that or anything. So I think objectively it's a mistake. I'm weakening my king side. There's no really safe position for my king to go to in this game, and that is why I really don't think that I have a great position. I would probably prefer white. I would prefer to play white here, to be honest. All right, so pawn sacrifice or blunder. We don't know what it was, but it doesn't matter now. White has a nice active game. I was thinking last move to play like bishop d7 and castles queenside. The problem is, if I play bishop d7, white just puts something on the e file. Well, not, yeah, just something. Just like queen e2, and I can't defend e7 properly. So it's a serious problem. I just couldn't castle queenside. He doesn't have to let me castle queenside. And even if I did castle queenside, I think that white still has compensation. Now, there's a small chance that Nefedov gets like disconnected or something. Sometimes he's playing on a mobile phone. And he loses his signal. This has happened very recently, he said. He is a subscriber, and I really appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. I don't like this, but I'm playing g5. I'm not planning on castling kingside unless the circumstances are good for that. Maybe I'll even play like king f8, honestly, at this point. My rook will help to protect over here. We'll just try to stay alive. I'm good at surviving. One of my best skills. I'm just hard to kill. Okay, g5. Keeping the f4 square under control. Kingside seriously weakened. White definitely has full compensation for the sacrificed pawn. We're a loser. So it was 5-2 yesterday. You would have excelled in this time control for the viewer tournament. Queen f3. Now I have h5. Feels like the right thing to do now. Basically, I wanted to do h5 earlier, but he would have taken on g6, so I had to play h5 in 2 moves. I had to play g5 so he doesn't have this take, and then h5. Luckily, after pawn takes pawn, I have g4 winning a piece, so I also have some vague ghost threats on that diagonal. Like he's threatening g5 now. If I don't take, I'm just losing my g5 pawn. Yeah, maybe I have to just take and play like bishop f6 or something. There is a d5. The d5 move. He can protect h2. He could even play knight e5 there. Yeah, it's not happening. I'm not playing that. Okay. We do have some issues. More serious than I first thought. Let's see. Bishop f6, bishop g5, d5 now maybe. I need to get castled queenside. f6 is out of the question. I don't know. This is pretty bad. If d5, bishop f6, bishop takes g5, unfortunately runs into rook g8, h4. I can try to play bishop d7 there. I don't know what else to do. I'm just kind of panicking. f6. It's an awful move. You had a lot of work. Built the wall. I won't make any wall jokes. World loser. Bishop f6. All right. Now, if I just had one more move, everything would be fine. I was planning on rook g8, sadly. If we take on g5, he's got pressure on e7. This is my big plan. It's pretty pathetic. We're just trying to survive here. I just am buying time that my stuff can be protected so I can castle queenside. We're just trying to get away. And maybe we're okay. Barely. It's very compact. There is a danger here, though. White has an outside passed pawn. That's the thing I'm most concerned about in this position. Of course, I can take on g5. It wouldn't be an outside passed pawn anymore. His king is not really safe, ultimately. It looks like we have counterplay now. He played king f2. Okay, I mean, nobody's king is safe here. Completely. Now what? Queen takes c3, bishop takes f6, g takes f6. No discoveries. What is going on? Bishop takes g5, pawn takes g5. This is a tough one. Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. I know that my d6 pawn is probably falling. I was threatening, what, this? I mean, I was planning this, I think. Rook g4. Okay, Nefertov now. Just freaked out in time pressure. He can't take on f6. But king f3 was a horrific blunder. Just the time pressure. I wonder how crushing his advantage was. Even until king f3, he wasn't better apparently. I thought he was here. Wow. I didn't think I was really that much better there. Okay, interesting. I'm such a pessimist. Peter thinks I'm better. Wow. All right. Was he better at some point? It thinks he has full compensation here. But it was never a big advantage to white. Okay. So I played all right. Let's move on to the next challenge. Lousy, Dirty Cheater, World Loser, Haggard DK, and Archie. All right, a Lousy, Dirty Cheater. 8+3. I'm playing unusual openings today, guys. So that's the theme for Wednesday. Sometimes I like to play like f4. I'm going to play a3. It's a useful move in most positions. Adolf Anderson played it against Morphy. Maybe not the best, maybe not the ideal opponent to waste, like, kind of waste time against. I can always transfer to some kind of English type of thing. I mean, a3 is, it's a fairly useful move in any kind of English position. So d5. Alright, that's principled, I guess. But I think you could end up in a... Well, you haven't played e4, so you can't really end up in a Sicilian, per se. a3 useful against things like knight to b4, but we'll end up in some kind of symmetrical English. Maybe I should play d4 here right away. After knight takes d5, maybe I should just play d4. That's the move that's correct in principle anyway. However, I haven't, I have played the move a3, which seems kind of wasteful. Black played b6 now. Alright, I think the b6 is suspicious. Slightly suspicious, not that bad. I guess he has time because of a3 to do some weird stuff. e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5. It's a position. If I give him time to play c5, the other option that's good for me is d4. Maybe that's objectively the best move. The position could transpose to, it could practically transpose to a Queen's Indian Petrosian variation where I played a3. Willam chess. Welcome, guys. Focusing on playing weird openings today. Yeah, the knight f6c. I would really like to keep a fluid pawn center, and I don't, I don't really want to play e5. I mean, it's not bad, it gains space, but it's not my favorite structure. d4 drops the pawn, and other moves are sort of inconsequential, so there is like bishop b5 check idea at some point. If I play knight c3, c5, e5, knight d5, it's nothing special. I really don't know what the best move is here. Okay, maybe knight c3, then c5, d4. There's always this check or checks on the light squares that could inconvenience black. I don't know, though. This seems more flexible than playing e5 right away. I mean, I have tricks. Maybe some pawn sacrifice with e6. Like Rudolf Spielmann. Tomorrow is my subscriber stream in the evening, 7 p.m. So I think I'm just going to sack a pawn here straight up. As soon as the bishop leaves this diagonal, it's probably a valid idea. I didn't really calculate, it's just intuition. It's certainly not forced. I can play normal moves like d4. But this gives me some interesting possibilities to attack if I sack the pawn with e6. So tomorrow is it's been a while since your last visit, Willam chess. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think you should take the chance. If you get e6, you should go for it. It's like happening sometimes in some queen pawn games. This is, well, this started out as a3, as an a3 opening, but the Anderson's opening or whatever. So, but it feels like it could be either. It could have been either like an e4 d4 game, a Slav, or Queen's Gambit accepted type of structure. Queen's Gambit accepted, basically. Or maybe some kind of weird Owen defense or something against e4. a3, not the most relevant move. We try to make it fun on Wednesdays, play some speculative stuff. First game, I played the Pribble or check defense. Now I'm playing 1a3. Objectively, I think that black should have played c5. If you look here after knight takes d5, like, what did I play? Knight e4, knight f3, right? I think here, if you play c5, you know, you've got a really principled position. You've got enough control of the center. You're playing a form of a symmetrical English where white has played a3 too early. But by not playing c5, maybe black doesn't get quite enough of the center. And that position, after e4, knight f6, knight c3, again, maybe he has to play c5. But now it's a little different because he's weakened this diagonal a bit. The b6 has weakened that diagonal. a4, e8. So I have more tricks, but I still think that maybe c5 should be played. Play queen d6. I mean, this is something you could do after taking the pawn, but I mean, I think queen d6 is a little bit weird immediately. This is just too extreme for black. King is not safe, and the queen is, you know, okay, it's got some mobility, but it's not really correct. So now we don't have to do anything fancy. I'm not going to try to checkmate him. I'm just going to, you know, take advantage of my ability to develop my pieces more harmoniously than black here. So I guess just d4. d4, queen e6 check is a little bit weird. Maybe I just play knight e5 in that position and it's good. Probably. I don't want to play queen e6 check, bishop e2, knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes f3, g takes f3. When it could get a little strange. I mean, still I'm better there probably, but his king is always on d8. It's very bad. Very, very bad for black. Having the king on d8 here. He's just strategically lost if white plays carefully. Yeah, World Loser, thanks for being here as a moderator. Okay, now knight d7. That stops knight e5 ideas, but now he doesn't have time to do that stuff. I guess I just have to simply play like bishop e2. Nothing fancy, like bishop e2 and castles, and we're just like clearly better. Even if he gets the pawn back, it's no big deal. You know, I don't think it's good to be materialistic ever. Just realize that the money's in the bank, basically. The black king will never be safe. As long as you don't simplify too much here with white, your advantage is going nowhere. I don't mean... I mean, like, your advantage is going to remain. You're not going anywhere. Your advantage is never going to just disappear. So you have to just have faith. You don't feel like you have to hold on to the f7 pawn in this position. I mean, it's just... Black has compromised his whole game. Anyway, I have to send out a message to the subscribers, guys, that tomorrow night I'm doing the subscriber stream 7 o'clock. Most of you guys know that by now, but I should send a message right now. Okay, opening the position with the king in the center obviously is a very dangerous thing, but he might have some trick. Pawn takes pawn, like knight takes knight. trading queens somehow. Forcing a trade of queens could save black, potentially. I just want to get my king to safety. Pawn takes e5, knight takes c3, pawn takes d6, knight takes d1. I don't know. That's probably good for me. Even that's probably good for me. Pawn takes c7 check, king takes c7. Let's just castle. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, alright guys, let's go back to the stream here. I was calculating pawn takes pawn, but I was a little confused. For this time control, I try not to let the position get out of control. I mean, in general, I would like to open the game with this king on d8, but I wasn't sure. I want to have to like capture on d1 with my bishop. My pieces get kind of discoordinated. Now taking on e5 looks reasonable. Then I would grab a second bishop. He has to take back now or make some other move, so this looks really good for white. Maybe now he can't take on c3. Is there any forced win? Well, I mean, bishop f3 just would force like more exchanges, with the weakening of his position with c6, basically. He can threaten mate in 1 at any moment. It's good I have the move g3, because otherwise that would be a problem. This could threaten mate in 1 and only 1 defense. I could run away, but that's not really going to cut it, because of bishop a6 check at some moments. So literally only move bishop d6, g3. But that's actually his best. He's got knight takes c3, b takes c, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, and maybe something like king d7. He's still breathing. Makes you wonder, did I play the wrong move here? Well, I could have played bishop c4 instead of bishop f3. Then if bishop d6, I would have had f4. This is no good for black. Rook e1 with even more development. No chance for black. But still no forced win. Still no forced win. A. Bishop f4. Some kind of tricks abound here. I might be able to do that. Bishop f4. Knight takes, c takes, bishop f4. Queen takes f4. Bishop takes d5. And then comes the bishop d6 again. Though it wouldn't be a lifesaver. A little bit too fancy for white, I think. We almost have tactics with bishop f4. Bishop d2 doesn't really do anything. It's passive. So, however, if I do nothing, I mean, he might slowly coordinate. Bishop f4, queen takes f4, bishop takes d5. I'm a little worried about, what am I worried about there, actually? Bishop takes d5. Alright, I don't think he has a move there. I really don't think he has a move here. I mean, anyway, whatever. It looks like it works. He could get to like an opposite color bishop ending or something maybe, I don't know. I mean, he could do bishop d6, but I have g3 again all the time. So Wesley, what do you do now? The intermezzo bishop d6 followed by, no, then I have g3. Yeah, that doesn't work. He can't really, you know, defend against that very easily. Rook e5. Rook e5, bishop d6. Now I have bishop g4 as well. It's starting to get ugly. Eventually there's going to be an exchange sack or something on e7. Just too hard for black to defend here. Yeah, basically. Yeah, bishop f4 is the best move. Okay, not a good idea to allow takes on f7, lousy dirty cheater. I mean, you've got to take on e6 and play that way. World loser is going to be a tough game. I'm white again. Don't do that, guys, where you make me white every game. What am I doing against world loser? Okay, the Saragossa opening with c3. I played this against Paschall, who's a Hungarian GM. Sometimes I played this in 2 games, I think. The so-called Saragossa opening could transpose to a Caro-Kann reversed. I've also played c4. I wanted to play c4. I saw someone else do that once. Hey, good luck, world loser. But I'll play reverse Caro-Kann here. World loser's, you know, he's usually playing d4. So if you get a d4 player, you can get him in a reverse opening, a reverse e4 opening. I mean, that's probably half the battle right there. If you can put your opponent in a position he doesn't normally play. Now we're basically playing a queen's gambit. He's not uncomfortable here. Reverse Caro-Kann / reverse Caro-Kann exchange variation / queen's gambit exchange variation by a very strange order of moves. The possibility to play e4 in one go. Okay, not today. Long ago I used to play the exchange variation against the Queen's Gambit. Is this even live? Yes. Yes, we are live. There's a little delay, but not too much. A few seconds. Active guard. Do you even English? Alright. Queen c2, bishop d3. It's been so long since I played the white side of the Queen's Gambit exchange variation. h6 is usually not recommended for black because it weakens the king side, and you don't have stuff like g6 when you need it. Here I can choose between knight f3 as well as knight e2. There are other lines like h3, g4. But I wonder, with the h6 in there, how should I change my strategy? Is one or the other plans of development better because of h6? Not really sure. I guess they're both fine. Rook e8, catch-all move. It also, you know, leaves g6 weak, so he can't do like knight f8, knight g6. There are many problems with the h6. Now knight e4. So I have to exchange. Say like bishop takes e4, d takes e4, knight g3, knight f6, f3, pawn takes f3, rook takes f3, bishop g4 is not good for me. Another plan for white is the like standard minority attack. But if I was going to do that, I probably would have played like knight f3. White is just a little bit better. Not that big a deal. I'm sure that I had, fairly sure I probably had something better. This allowed an awful lot of simplification. I mean, c5 is a risky move by World Loser, I think. He could probably just sit tight there and be, you know, be fine. Now I can go into the structure that's slightly better for white. Put my knight on d4. I half expected him to play queen b6 there, with tricks against e3. Okay, it's not like black is losing this position. It's a standard IQP. But it's not stylistically really that well suited, I think, to World Loser. He likes active positions with a lot of tactics and counterplay. I think that stylistically this is not really the best type of position for him. He's not a bad endgame player, but he really excels in tactical positions, which this position is not. So I think that that's good because he's fast and I don't want to get tricked tactically or something. Little Pingwing, welcome. No computer crash yet today. Maybe bishop b3 putting pressure on his pawn, huh? What do you guys think? He's going to trade down. I don't have to exchange rooks. It's interesting. We would consider not exchanging rooks to keep pieces on the board. We would consider, but it's all right. I think he might be in trouble immediately. Looks like we win material here. Straight up. You got to keep World Loser out of very sharp positions where he has a time advantage. How do you know so many openings? It's simply, I think it's just a case of old age. Alright, is there any kind of trick here? He's sort of trapping my knight. Sort of trapping it. But, I mean, he's going to need to, like, trap it with his king, which is not very easy to do. So we come back. We rescue the knight. And now we consider b4. Although that's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Should be good enough, the b4, but there's some tricks. There's some things I don't like about b4. Maybe we should just avoid it. Wow, king c5. I'm out of there. I was concerned that if I played b4, he had serious chances. With d4 and knight d5. Tricky counterplay. So, triumphant. In the case of old age, I'm going to use that against my opponent. The problem is I'm also getting Alzheimer's, so it kind of cuts both ways. Like, I have a lot of things in my brain, but then I'm like losing track of where they are. I've had time to accumulate a lot of knowledge, but I'm forgetting everything. Basically. All right. Looks pretty good. Maybe we go back to harass his pawn yet again. All right, now for my next trick, I can bring my king to c3. Maybe e4 even. e4, c3, king e3. It feels weird to put my king... my pawn's on dark squares, but... technically, I really shouldn't put pawns on dark squares. But his king is so out of position, I can get away with this. Yeah, now there's an issue, but it's alright. If he plays b5 here, or loser just played too quickly. Fluid. Think fluid thoughts. We just need a tempo. He's eventually going to run out of moves. I don't think the result is ever in doubt here. He played too quickly, which he has a tendency to do. It's early morning. He's not warmed up either. All right, so what's up with the opening there, world loser? Yes, I played c3, but we transposed to a normal exchange variation. Queen c2, best move. Now you're supposed to play bishop d6 there. Now we transpose to another line. h6 is not very great, although Kramnik has played it on a couple of occasions. Wow, g6 is the move in that position. Craziness. g6. Bishop e7, e3. Nepomniachtchi versus Kramnik. Castles, bishop d3, knight d7, knight e2, rook e8. Castles, knight e4. This is apparently all a main line. Bishop takes e7. Dude, this game just happened, didn't it? Michael Brown against Akobian. Is that brand new from... Man, you're playing like Akobian. Rook a e1. This is all main line. Oh my god. Knight takes c3, knight takes c3. And then c5. Nobody special played this. The c5 I don't like, we're a loser. If you just sit tight in this position, there's nothing I can do to you. But see, that's the problem. War loser doesn't like to just sit tight. My Hungarian friend, Bokros Albi, he actually had this position with black and lost. I don't know. I don't think the white has anything here. They're just two pieces off the board. White's advantage is really, really minimal. So sometimes we're a loser, you just have to sit there and do nothing well. This position is not really good for your this position is not really good for your mentality of active, fast play. You need to play like slow and do nothing here. All right, Haggard DK. What's up? Yeah. If there was like one more piece on the board, I feel like White had more chances there. But if he doesn't play c5, Yuri Yakovich, Weird Al Yakovich, my friend called him. He won a game with White in that position. Okay, let's go. I'm White again. F4 this time. Playing every weird move I can think of. A3, C3, F4. I could play E4 and hope you guys give me a chance to play something cool like the King's Gambit. Okay, D6. This is actually a really good move against F4. I recommended this to some of my students. The idea would be to play, I like the best, E4, D5, going into a Scandinavian where White has played the move F4. It's not everybody's cup of tea, so to speak, but I think that's the thematic idea. I also play D3 type of setups against the Dutch, and I think that D6 against F4 makes complete sense. So it's a good system, Haggard DK. You can also turn it into a kind of Grand Prix attack Sicilian, I guess. You know, you could play like C5 and transpose to some sort of main line there if you want to, but I really like D5. So now Knight C6 is it's more like a kind of Nimzovich now. This is getting kind of weird. I'm gonna take up the challenge and play D4. This is challenging Black, but we'll see what he does. E5 is possible. Just play Bishop G7, okay? And now the question is, like, is D5 a good move for White? The computer would say yes. I'm more circumspect about just randomly advancing my D pawn. If D5, I would like, say, Knight B8, and it's not that bad for Black. White can get kind of overextended. Okay, we'll just play something solid here. It's a matter of style, though. I mean, I think that even D5 is playable. This move looks a little bit weird in this situation. After C3, I just overprotected my D4 point, so I don't think it makes sense, theoretically, to go Bishop G4. Maybe I have some tricks. Nothing special. Queen B3, Rook B8. Queen B3, Rook B8 could get strange and interesting. Queen B3, Rook B8, Knight G5, Knight H6, H3, Bishop D7. Well, that's really weird. I mean, I could just simply play H3 too, or any number of moves. Alright, let's just develop our pieces. I don't know, I don't see anything really convincing with this. It looks a little bit artificial. I'd rather just get my pieces out. I guess Bishop G4 is not so bad. It is a good idea to trade pieces when you have less space. And this is no exception. I mean, Black has less space here, so I guess this is not a bad move. I was looking for something there, but it's too easy for Black to defend conveniently. I don't really want to take with the pawn here. In this position where I've played like C3 kind of slowly. Unprovoked exchange on F3. You don't like the White plan of F3 and E4 for White, you mean, or for you? World Loser, you followed all theory there, but I really don't think White has anything, you know. At the Grandmaster level, that position before you played C5 is like 95% draws and like 3% wins for White. I don't know. Now what do I do? Where do I put my white squared bishop here? Could even play g3 or g4. g3. We'll turn it into a King's Indian attack. Weird kind of King's Indian attack. So, yeah, we're a loser, but I think, yeah, it's a little like Hikaru playing the black side of the Queen's Gambit declined. I don't think that opening is active enough for you. Alright, a5. The Slav is a little better. When I play c3, maybe you should play c6. Symmetrically. Trying to force the Slav. Slav just a tiny bit more active than the Queen's Gambit declined. A very close position here. I feel like I'm playing chess 960. Whoa, did I just miss e5? Wouldn't be all that clear. I mean, if I take on b7, he's got rook b8, rook takes b2. So I don't think I'm just straight up winning a pawn. He's got knight d5, a lot of stuff. Okay, never mind. My intuition was correct. All right. I'm just making a lazy move. Haggard DK playing pretty fast here. 7+3. Sheppy, what's up? In general versus h6 blah blah blah, I've played bishop takes e4 and d5, I think. Have you ever played the bird in a serious game? Me? Yes. I lost to this kid in New Hampshire once. I can't remember his name. It was awful. It was like a 2100. He was a 2100 player. Maybe 22, I don't know. And I played like the Bird Larson attack and lost. I was not paying attention and blundered like a simple one-move tactic. I played b3. But the thing was, I'm not sure I played f4 on move 1. I think I've played b3 and then f4 on move 2. I'm not sure I've ever played f4 on move 1 in a tournament game. It's a good question, and it's likely that against some weak player I probably did at some point, and I was just messing around, but I don't remember, you know, honestly. Okay, here now things are getting kind of weird. Knight c4. Okay, black has queen a6, but it just drops a pawn here, so we can't do that. Yeah, I think I played f4 only on move 2, most likely. The game was like b3, d5, f4. I lost that. I also... Yeah, I don't remember any other clear... I rarely played f4. In a maybe an offhand game against a much lower rated player, there could have been a game like that, but I just generally don't play f4. Nothing here, nothing. Still, I'm not making any progress. All right, I'm going to go back. There's no shame in admitting you made a mistake. Anything fancy here, like knight takes d6 or e5, I think just... Well, to be honest, yeah. I mean, I thought e5, black might even play knight e8. I should really be playing for g4, f5 strategically. So maybe I should have gone with it. I can't remember the guy that I lost to playing f4 and b3. At least if I play weird open, I have an excuse for losing, right? Yeah, I'm really not certain if I ever played f4 on move 1. It's hard to believe in all the tournament games that I've played, I didn't just fool around with it at least once. I don't even know if I ever played like a King's Gambit in a tournament game. Something I might do against an extremely much lower rated opponent where I was like guaranteed to win. Say I was 2400 and my opponent was 1800, I might mess around with a really strange opening that I don't normally play. but I don't remember any examples of like the King's Gambit or f4 on move 1. This is an interesting move. Okay, c5 makes some sense. It looks weird to have this big hold on b5, but yeah, he needs to try to open the position here. And it's got the bishop on g7. That's pretty good. I don't know, this is a little bit weird. I'm not certain this is necessarily that much better for me. We do have a space advantage. You know, it's like if Mamedyarov was white, I'm pretty sure he would find a way to make this work. But it looks a little weird, my position. Particularly one feature here. I was really concerned about knight b6 there. Just putting more pressure on d5. Or maybe takes in knight b6. Actually, yeah, after takes, if you just take knight b6, how do I defend the d5 pawn? I'm actually going to have to sack a pawn with like c4, bishop takes b2. So I think Haggard DK missed the golden opportunity there. Now it's really sort of crazy closed position where I have a big space advantage. But the queen side isn't necessarily impossible to open up. You know, if he tries to lock the whole board, basically, I can probably find a way to open the queen side eventually in this structure. But I think he just had take knight b6. And I was in trouble. Yeah, I don't know if I ever played f4. Can't remember the guy's name in that New Hampshire. No, it was Vermont. It wasn't New Hampshire. It was Vermont. I played Stratton Mountain. They had some tournaments there in the 90s and early 2000s. So Vermont, b3, d5, f4, c5, bishop b2, g6. Is that right? The guy got like the perfect formation against my Bird Larson attack. He played like the fianchetto with like d5, d4, knight d5, and I allowed like a double attack on 2 of my pieces and just resigned. That was one of the last times I ever considered playing f4. I think you have to know it. It's like the Dutch. You really have to be a specialist to play that kind of stuff. The Dutch is an opening it takes years to master. It's closed, but black does not have the knights. Black what? Does have the knights, yeah. I don't know what he should do, but this opens up the king side a bit. I can consider taking the other way, but once again, my d5 pawn. Okay, it's a little different here, actually. But I think white's space advantage is pretty ominous in this position. We can easily create pressure on the h7, down the g file. I don't think he has enough space to defend, although my bishop is pretty bad. My g2 bishop is pretty bad. I guess I should have considered going the other way more seriously. One of my problems is that black could play like e4, sack a pawn later on. I'm interested to see what the computer says after the game, what Stockfish will say about this recapture on f5, like which is better. I just felt it might give him some counterplay. Hey Arsenal fan Richie, what's up? Tomorrow is my subscriber stream, 7 p.m. Bring your games to analyze, or any interesting games, and we'll play some Blitz and classical chess with the subscribers. 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Ayesta, what's up? Yeah, Richie, we had a subscriber tournament yesterday. Last Dance won all of his games. Alright, we are going for the G file. We're going to improve this bad bishop to this diagonal where it's pretty good. But Haggard DK taking on f5, I think, you know, generally speaking, it would be better to try to play like f6 and lock the structure if you can. I mean, I'm not sure if it was even feasible for white to or black to do that. Bishop g5, interesting here. Kind of trying to paralyze him with threats of f6 and, you know, h6, queen h3. I think black is lost here, objectively. There's just not enough space to maneuver. There's really no chance. This is no good. I mean, you're going to get your queen trapped. Or other bad stuff. Yeah, d6 cannot be forgotten. This is game over. It's too hard to defend. I don't like taking on f5, although black has kind of a difficult position anyway. No chance now. So I want to see about that capture on f5, and also was Haggard DK just winning if he took on d5? I like the move c5 Haggard DK. You found that idea and turned it into a Benoni. Suddenly you had a playable game. Yeah, no help from that move. Right, so weird opening, no games found. Okay, white's slightly better. It's a position. Here I think he should play like knight e7, where the knight stays behind the pawn structure. White has like a normal slight advantage, and then kind of wasted some time. Played g4 and now c5. Here I didn't know what to do. I just didn't see f5. I mean, it's something like Steinitz probably would have done. Steinitz would have loved this f5 move. Just brute force. If I had more time here. But this is definitely a mistake. So he has e takes d5 for sure. Now I have to play f5. If I don't find that, I'm not better anymore. No, it's changing its mind now. E takes d6, knight b6. I was concerned about this. But apparently f5 gives me chances. I have some compensation. I'm going to lose this pawn. But I have strong chances of f5. This was not planned. Not planned in advance. But this is bad now. After e5, I have too much space. He has to try f6 here, I thought. But it looks like a bad King's Indian. You just have, I mean, you know, like I'm playing the King's Indian. It looks like really ugly for black. Alright, Archie 7-7. Do you just play the bird like a Leningrad Duchess white? Yeah, basically. I would prefer to play it like that. I don't really like the Stonewall attack. You know, and the Simon Williams Dutch is fine, I guess, when you're black, but I wouldn't want to do that with white, you know, the Iljan Janevsky variation. I do prefer to play it, but the thing is, when you play like that, I just feel like all I'm doing is playing the closed Sicilian, basically. It's just, you call it the birds, but it's really just a closed Sicilian. Oh, the Trompowsky. All right, I like playing against the Trompowsky. I'm really, you know, rarely seeing it here on lichess. In the late 80s and 90s, it was an extremely popular opening. Now it's faded a little in popularity. It's still seen, mostly with stronger players. All right, knight c3. But this is technically not a Trompowsky. This is a what's it called? Verosov opening. I had one of my students recently play this move. This is what I used to play, knight on bd7, but it's a little bit passive. I guess that's fine. I like this line a little better. Now d takes c5, as far as I know, is just a mistake. Black gets all the center after d4. It's basically a Chigorin Queen's Gambit with white, you know, with an extra tempo, but taking away from the center. I guess not justified. Not justified enough. And as far as recapture, you can take back either way, but I like to take back this way. Black's at least equal here. I have had other games. I think I actually saw somebody play Queen d5 here successfully. I've played Bishop f5 against another player on the stream here, this exact position. We had Bishop f5. I've played this position with colors reversed with an extra tempo too, against the Hungarian guy, Laszlo Topazzo, an old Hungarian master. Played him in a tournament in Washington D.C. in like 1992. Imagine like I'm already with my knight on c3 or c6 here. With the extra move, it's just devastating. If I have an extra move, knight c6 and bishop f5, it's like terrible for white. He gave me that position with colors reversed with a move to boot. But anyway, okay, queen d5 is good. Let's go with a more natural move. I'm trying to remember who I had this against. I think it was in my Blitz stream, one of my Blitz streams here on lichess. The computer preferred queen d5, I believe, in this position. Knight g3. You know, this way he gains a tempo on my bishop. I got a really nice game. Oh, no, I don't remember who it was against. Lord Ulrich. On election day, Magnus Carlsen played the Trompowsky opening at a tournament. Oh, the Trompowsky. No, Trompowsky is actually, it's actually not, it's, you know, Trompowsky, it's actually named after a Brazilian master who was, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think when it dates back to, like, the 30s. Queen d3 is a kind of nasty move. I mean, I have no idea of the history of this player Trompowsky from Brazil, but someone probably does. You know, he wasn't like a household name. But I think he might have played with Alekhine. Alekhine also played knight at d5 like me. I mean, I didn't start playing d5 because of Alekhine, but I realized later that he did choose that as his move, which is a pretty good sign. Now, queen d3 is an incisive move. I like that. It takes a lot of guts to play that move. Unfortunately, I have queen d5 anyway. But then he has queen b5 check. That's just weird. Alright. Well, you're forcing me to do it. I used to struggle against Trompowsky, but when I started playing d5, I've only lost one game since I started playing d5. An experimental game against the Vietnamese. Win Wak Trongson, who's like 2,700 now. I came up with a new idea against him, and I tried it and lost, but it was still an interesting variation. So I've played, like the last 10 games I've played against Trompowsky, I've only lost one since I started playing d5. And it is like the most popular line against it now, to play d5 and take back with the g-pawn. I think like clearly the best. This move may not have been optimalish. Probably better to go back to g6, I guess. You can actually play like b4, b5. That's going to cost me a tempo. Trompowsky, so you're telling me that Magnus Carlsen makes political statements with his opening choices? Well, I mean, you know, considering that the Berlin defense is like the most popular and, you know, it's likely that it's not really, you know, an intentional thing. But it's possible. The Berlin defense is basically what my friend called the refutation of chess. It's just a problem. Years ago, they thought it was nothing. I was analyzing Nesmedinov's games, and he annotates a game where he beat the Berlin defense, and he says that it's like not as good as A6, you know. But the philosophical, you know, discussion on that has changed completely. Whereas, like in the 60s, they thought that the Berlin defense was inferior to A6. It looks like it's at least as good as A6. But of course, if you have to play that ending, then, you know, your winning chances are limited. If you want to win, you have to play like the Marshall defense against the Roi Lopez and stuff like that. Something interesting. Everyone plays the Berlin defense, so it's not really statistically relevant, you know. The Trompowsky is a little bit of a weirder choice. But it could be as simple as like Carlsen just didn't have time to prepare. I don't know. Who knows? The Trompowsky is a nice opening to just play as a surprise weapon. Shereshevsky is a chess trainer. I don't know if he's still alive or not, from Belarus, and he wrote this book called The Soviet Chess Conveyor, where he discusses a lot of different systems he teaches to his students, and one of his big things was like using the Trompowsky as a kind of like secondary weapon, surprise weapon. You can just play it, you know, once in a while. It's a good idea, you know, to have a backup opening that you can just go to. The other player is not going to be really expecting. It's good for a practical opening when other players aren't expecting it. I think if it's expected, it loses like most of its value. This guy that I refer to, that I lost to, Winnock Tronkson, he played it just every single game. That was the striking thing about it. Like, everyone knew he was going to play the Trompowsky, and he just kept playing it and playing it, you know. He was so talented that it didn't even matter that he's playing this opening that's not really that dangerous. Alright. Yeah, we're just winning. I'm a piece up, so I'm going to play A4 and break open the queen side. We need a way in if we want to win with our extra piece. We need open lines for the rooks. I could play bishop h6. This is actually pretty devastating. If I play bishop h6, bishop e3 now, there's going to be no way out. Maybe first we'll open the a file, and then we'll get the dark square bishop in the game and get the king in the game. Get all the pieces playing. When you look at position now, it's so random, pieces all over the place. White's pieces are in a little kind of box. If you watch sometimes strong players, they can have the power to kind of like manipulate the opponent's pieces, almost like a puppet master. Unfortunately, I'd really like to do something fancy here, but nothing really works. We're just up a piece. Almost had rook g8, but he has knight takes e6, rook takes g1, knight c7 check and stuff. So, all right, up next we've got more challenges from Philus, Active Guard, IK Corwin, and M. Sheppy. This time I didn't do anything weird. I mean, White played the Trompowsky. It sort of counts as a weird opening, but I guess maybe I should have played something strange in response to it. Once I lost to the Irish master, Sam Collins, I played c6 against the Tromp. That would count as kind of weird. Well, that rook is close to trapped, isn't it? Not quite. Alright, so he's doggedly hanging on here. Now h5 looks kind of unpleasant for white. Can I keep him trapped though? Nothing apparent he can do here. He's really trying. We're going to be up a rook in a minute. Okay, this player Archie doesn't have really 50 games, does he? Well, just about, actually, if you add them all up. I asked people to have like an established rating. So that's mostly to avoid trolls, though. We did play Archie one game previously. Okay, next up, Philos, Active Guard, IK Corwin, Sheppy. We'll play as many games as we can in the next hour. Play the Dutch, though. I do play the Dutch. I mean, in the Weird Wednesday stream. I've always wanted to play the Dutch, but it just, like I said earlier today, playing the Dutch seems like it takes a lot of energy and a lot of practice. It's not like you can just play the Dutch well, like, you know, as soon as you learn it. I think it takes a lot of practice. Simon Williams recommends the Dutch to everybody, but this is a guy who's been playing the Dutch since he was like 11 years old or something. I mean, you know, it's cool to recommend this opening that he knows really well, but you know, he's got to understand that he's that good at the Dutch because it took him like 20 years to learn it. I mean, I don't think that beginners necessarily should play the Dutch. I'm not sure that it's an easy opening to learn. I think it's a very difficult opening to learn. French defense is another opening that I think is very difficult to learn. Probably very rewarding if you play it for years and you really get good at it, but like the Winnower French, the Dutch, these are openings that are really hard to master. Probably takes many, many losses to get to be an effective Dutch player. Oh my god, I almost hung my I'm up a rook now. I'm like, oh my god, I almost hung it. I'd only be up a piece then. Here, you know what? You can have it, alright? You can have my rook. Otherwise, it's just so irritating to break through. Sometimes it's best to just do that, especially if you're in time pressure. You know, it's good to just sacrifice back some of your pieces. It's much more efficient and quicker to win oftentimes. If you're playing with like a sudden death time control, give back the material, you know, whatever it is, just trade off their last pieces and win on time. Or just avoiding losing on time, you know, here. Archie should really just resign. No chance that, you know, a good player is going to stalemate you or something like that. So let's just make him run out of moves. You're going to move your king back and get checkmated, okay? No more chances for you. That's it. Take the last pawn. Alright, he did resign. Rematch? No. We've got a lot of challenges, guys. I'm not going to be able to play like all of these games. Philos gave an interesting game last time. I like just giving the exchange back. It was kind of hard to break through there, even though I was up a rook. So I kind of like giving the exchange back. Unusual openings today. Why am I getting white almost every game? Okay, I was white last game. I've been black last game. I've been black twice and white like 4 games or something. Now against the Sicilian, Philos is a pretty good player. I mean, even though he's 1697, which is not a high rating, he played pretty well against me. So let's see. Let's play G3. I was just looking at this in an old German edition of Polugievsky. Polugievsky talks about basically playing the black side of it's basically a Polugievsky book on the black side of the Sicilian, a lot of lines, and they were discussing this line. once I played a Russian master named, I think he's Russian, Boris Men. He might be dead by now. The guy was like 2,500 US back in the 90s. I think he played in one US championship. He played G3 against me. That was the only... No, there's a second time a Spanish or Peruvian guy played against me G3. So I faced this twice, the G3 move. But in both games, I played D5, which is supposed to be the critical move. Even according to this old Polygievsky book. D5, E takes D, Queen takes D5, Knight F3, and against Boris Man I played like Bishop G4, which is the sharpest move. But against the other guy I played, I can't remember his name, he's a good player. The other guy played more calmly. I guess I just played like Knight C6 or something, and no Bishop G4. Now E5... Why not? I mean, E5 is okay. No, that's the sound of silence. I'm thinking about this. You know, do I want to open up the position with C3 and D4? The big clamp. Do I want to spend a move on D3? Why am I attracted to that move? Trying to play F4, I guess. The F4 break really appeals to me strategically. Would you call it a Maroczy bind for black? No. No, I think that Maroczy only really applies, it only really applies when, you know, like, black has played this, and I've played this, and those pawns have been exchanged on D5. I think the Maroczy only applies, this you know, name only applies when it's an open game. You know, this is, people call this like the Botvinnik pawn formation. I'm not sure if it's really, if Botvinnik, yeah, I mean, Botvinnik used it quite a bit. He's not the only one, but he's the most famous player because he was world champion who used this pawn formation on a regular basis. It's a really formative pawn formation, really basic. Okay, anyways, I mean, we're going to transpose into some kind of typical setup here. It's a closed Sicilian, basically. It's just a kind of hybrid variation. I've got different type of moves I could make. F4 looks a little bit early. We could just, if I play Knight C3, we're going to transpose directly into, you know, what's probably like a main line. I tried for unusual, but I didn't get it. We're in a type of closed Sicilian. I haven't played Bishop G2 yet, and I was wondering if I can exploit that. Delaying Bishop G2, you know, to try to play like Bishop H3 and trade my bad bishop off in some structures. It's an interesting positional idea, but it's just one plan of many. So I played Knight C3. I don't know. A kind of closed Sicilian. I actually did try playing a closed Sicilian when I was younger. I also used to play the closed Sicilian with black. Now H6 to me seems a bit weird. It's almost like he wants to play G5, or what's that about? Why H6? He wants to play G5. If I do F4 and he takes and I take with the bishop, G5. Alright, it's a game. Let's play some chess. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, Queen H4 check is a problem. I don't really have a good place to go, unfortunately. Yeah. So I'll have to take with the bishop. That's alright though. You know, we get him to give up his strong point. It's complicated though. I think that's playable for black. Take, G5, bishop E3. And black has some good squares. The E5 square, the D4 square. H6. Maybe I should try something else instead of F4. You could even play bishop h3 here. Perfectly reasonable move. Playing for the white squares. Maybe that's simple and good. He's putting all his pawns on dark squares, so it kind of makes sense for me to exploit the white squares. Whoa, I think he moved. No. Alright, he's thinking too long here. Have you ever tried the Halloween Gambit in the Four Knights opening? Well, yeah, no, it's sound, man. I mean, I wouldn't even really call it a gambit per se. I mean, it just seems like a complicated line. Otherwise known as the Frankenstein Dracula variation. That's what I thought a lot of people refer to it as. I've never played, you know, the Four Knights really. But that's not the Four Knights. What did you say? That's not the Four Knights, right? What is that opening out of? It's not like some kind of Vienna? I thought it was like the Vienna variation. Or, you know, Vienna game. The Frankenstein Dracula. Okay, now we're going to castle queenside or kingside here. Bishop h3 is even more appealing than it was before. Okay. Bye-bye white squared bishop. Positional chess. Focusing on d5 and the white squares in the game. The web of white square weaknesses. I thought the Frankenstein Dracula was a Vienna game. A Vienna opening. Vienna. Yeah, Vienna game. Oh, okay. Out to CCZ. Alright. I'm thinking of the Vienna game, Frankenstein Dracula variation. This is something else. Okay, in the Four Knights, knight takes e5. I didn't know that was called the Halloween Gambit. Yeah, yeah, I've seen the reverse of that type of idea. Alright, we'll just go back. Yeah, I know that exists. But I don't really play the white side of the Four Knights. I don't play either side of the Four Knights because I'll occasionally play the Petrov. But I usually avoid the Four Knights and play like 3 bishop b4. So I don't have really occasion to get that position. When I'm white, I don't play the Four Knights, and when I'm black, I avoid it by playing, you know, Petrov move order with. Although occasionally I've played it in, you know, online, I guess, Blitz and stuff. I don't really play the black side of the Lopez, so I don't play knight c6, except here, maybe on the stream sometimes. And very, very few people on lichess played like the Four Knights with white. Knight f6 looks like a good move. Patient move, waiting. He's not taking on h3. It's kind of pissing me off, actually. Alright, queen d2. Now he can go g4. So I'm afraid I have to make this exchange. The situation is a bit weird. We definitely have to think outside the box now. I was thinking about queen f3. That looks like, depending on what he does now. I mean, if he takes with the rook, assuming. Queen f3, knight e5. And then I could go anywhere like queen e2. Queen g2, maybe. But I want to focus on the dark squares, on the white squares. The other dark squares. Basically, strategically. I've got to watch this knight coming into g4. Hitting my bishop on e3. So, I mean, he might be tempted to take with the queen. See, I just made that move for him. He was tempted to take with the queen. I knew that could be tempting. Now, queen f3. The thing is, queen f3. Knight e5 though. Do I really want to give him like a full tempo? See, the problem is queen d2, queen g4 prevents me from castling and like gets in my face. It's sort of pissing me off. This move attacks his loose knight, you know, so buying me time, focusing on the d5 square, the white squares I was talking about, the f file. So we're delaying this knight on g1 quite a long time. It can go to g2, no problem. But do I want to castle on the king side or castle on the queen side? Now after this last move, I'm like, huh, that long diagonal looks kind of scary. I guess we're going to be castling king side. No longer do I have the e2 square to go to. Now he has knight e5. Knight g4, okay, I'll just move my bishop again. Whatever. I'm hoping that these squares, that's the long-term question. He's got g4 here. But it's still like weakening squares. My king has flexibility to castle on either side. I have no really bad pieces. My knight on e2 isn't great, admittedly, for the moment. I could even sack an exchange. g4 castles. Knight f3, take with great compensation for white. Great positional compensation there, if you want to. But it's probably unnecessary. I mean, objectively, just like knight f4, knight f3 check, even king e2 is okay. Still, castling queenside, a little bit dangerous. I can just castle on a knight h3 check, play king h1. No, it's up to me, basically. Although that allows h5, h4 type of stuff. Maybe we'll... Wow, I'm surprised he didn't do it. But now I have knight f4. So this is a blunder. Just giving me the d5 square. Now I'm like... Now I have massive control of d5. We're always going to sack an exchange on f3 and have a good game. There is the bishop on the long diagonal. He's grabbing a second pawn here. With bishop takes pawn. That bothered me a little bit. Knight f6 check, takes, queen takes. I don't want to give him that. I don't want to give him f5 either. But as I said earlier, he's really good for 1600. He seems stronger than this rating. For sure. I mean, I don't know what the deal is, but he's just definitely too strong to be 1300. He could try to do f5, pawn takes pawn, rook takes e3, doesn't quite work. I want to get off that diagonal. He could have taken the pawn on b2, so he's had like several opportunities to do something a little bit more aggressive. It's kind of a cheapo, but I want to put my rook on f5. I'm not even sure if it's a good move. Just trying to build up the pressure. Okay, I mean the final position is like, I don't know, equal, slightly better for white. It says I'm a pawn better. Interesting game. Okay, you should have taken the pawn on b2 probably. After I sacked the exchange, wow. So if bishop takes b2 here, it says I'm still better. Wow. I wasn't confident, you know, I wasn't sure. Oh my god, I have c3 there. Trapping his bishop and threatening knight f6 check. So much for that. Anyway, interesting game, Phyllis. Active guard. Do we have anybody who's a subscriber who's challenging me? Arsenal fan. Arsenal fan is definitely a subscriber. So we'll play him next. He's challenged me to chess 960. This is going to be the only chess 960 game I'm going to play today. Today is a weird Wednesday, so we're basically trying to play weird openings. We'll agree to this one chess 960. If you guys subscribe, you get first priority in playing on the stream here. Also, I'm doing a subscriber stream tomorrow night for just the subscribers, 7 p.m. on lichess, Central European time, Central Eastern time. It's a new time zone. Okay, g3. I'm taking advantage of my Dutch defense experience here. You're tired already at the end. I don't really like h6 and g5, but it's interesting. Phileas. 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 I'm calling him Phileas. What an American. Alright. Phileas. f5. We're going with the active rook. The knight that can come out behind the pawn on f6. Oh man, the symmetrical. Dude. Yeah. I'm playing the Dutch. He's playing the Dutch too. We've got a time advantage. Usually Arsenal plays very fast. But maybe the chess 960 is slowing him down a little bit. Your kingside castle's wrong. It says queenside castles, yeah. Not exactly a standard thing to do in, you know, the closed Sicilian with black, but it could happen. It can happen, you know, with colors reversed in the closed Sicilian. That's a good flexible move by white. Looks right. What to do now for me? We both have this bad queen on the corner square. It's oftentimes difficult to get the queen in the game in chess 960. This is a little risky strategically. I've got a kind of, like, I refer to this usually as like a bowl. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone else really calling it that, but I don't know what else to call it. I've also referred to it as the pawn smile. The structure where we do like c5, f5, e6, and d6 would be something that I might, you know, likely set up here. It controls a lot of squares, but it's also slightly weakening for black. This is a structure I've played, you know, many times in like the closed Sicilian. Rich just goes with the double fianchetto. He's not got any weaknesses. I kind of like his position better than mine. Somehow. So fluid. It's beautiful. And eventually he's going to play e4. Maybe black has more weaknesses than white. I don't know. Doesn't seem fair. I mean, I do have these weird knight jumps. Maybe I could consider it there. He can castle queenside. Yeah, there it is. I was just about to say, like, I think he might castle queenside. Now, b5 is really looking like I'm weakening my position. Just looks like I have way more weaknesses than white here. But I guess just my perception. He has weaknesses too. It's difficult to exploit them. I'd like to play like a5, a4 even. If a5, a4 for white, though, kind of freezes me. That's the problem. My king is still in the center. Should I castle queenside as well? Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Symmetrically castle here. But white has a wicked initiative with this pressure on the long diagonal. At least now, I mean, I think I'm in trouble, but at least now my bishop is protected. He's 1577 in chess 960. I mean, that's hard to believe. How many games does he have? It's not even on the list. It's not even on the list there. Why is correspondence with no games on the list, but chess 960 is not? That's so strange. White's playing perfectly. Knight d4. I really think he could have played e5 here. And after e5, I don't have a good square for my knight to go to. Let me see. Take knight g4. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't like my position, to be honest, after e5 by him there. And I don't know what else to do, though. Knight g4. Just losing control of the center. It's awful for me. e5. e5 probably will lose a pawn ultimately. White just has a clear advantage. Queen b8. I don't know. Get my queen off the long diagonal. It looks awful and passive. I may just be losing a pawn. I think I'm just losing a pawn here. How much compensation do I get? Because he gives up his bishop to win it. He has pawn takes pawn, followed by bishop takes c6 and rook takes e7. And I don't know how much compensation I get there. I wasn't as sure about this. Oh, he's just winning a piece? Good. He's just winning a piece now. Oh, no, I have check. My goodness. It's a check on b2. It's so randomly lucky. I'm not losing a piece. Wow. Can't say I saw it in advance. But I think you should just take the pawn earlier with bishop takes c6 and takes on f5 and takes on e7. I might have a little bit of compensation He's giving up his white square bishop on the long diagonal, and maybe that's the concession. But still, a pawn, winning my pawn on e7 would be something that is good. He has queen g7, rook somewhere. Now queen a3. Threatening another pawn. I guess I can play b6. That's weakening my position quite a bit, though. I don't really want to lose the c5 pawn. I don't mind so much the a pawn. If you want to take my a pawn, I can probably give you, I can arrange to give you that. I should have compensation. I mean, this, I have rook on the 7th with active play. There's some tricks though with b4. We have an intermezzo. That's really irritating. b4. Seriously? I mean, black's got to be totally better here. Maybe this move first? I don't know. He has a lot of dark square weaknesses, but it's still not that easy for me. I mean, actually, knight e2, queen a1 check is unclear. And I prevented this b4 stuff. That was my main idea. Prevent b4 and just get developed. He has a check, a couple checks with like queen a8, king c7, queen a5, b6. Not a big deal. Bishop b7. Can also go back. Okay. So he came back. I'm not sure how to make progress now. I guess I should just take the pawn. Okay. Take pawn. Got even material, imbalanced pawn structure, and an ending in store here where I should be better. This ending should be winning for me. I mean, the h-pawn, the queenside majority of 3 against 1 looks pretty devastating. Yeah, this has got to be winning for me. We're going to just roll the h-pawn. I mean, he had huge chances in the opening middle game, but this is indefensible. I can actually just trade rooks. So analysis board, I think we're going to see that he should have taken that pawn straight up. This looks better for white. Definitely better for white. I like the way he played. It was excellent. And now I didn't defend against the threat on e7. It's a difficult position, but my move is like a blunder. Queen b8. He can take, e takes f5, bishop takes f5. I like that. The computer says e5. That's what he did. I didn't like it as much, though. I mean, I thought this is okay. You know, it's okay for white, but I like the other way. Apparently you should play queen g7 here, after all. Alright, Rich, interesting game. You definitely had good chances there. I like the way the opening was played. I don't think we have any other subscribers challenging. Ayesta is a subscriber, okay. Ayesta is up next. For game analysis tomorrow, you can send me a message on lichess. Feel free to just send me a game on lichess, Ayesta, anytime you want. And I can take a look at it. I mean, it's better if you send it. If you send it earlier, I can have time to go over it. So that's even better. Ayesta is a subscriber. Arsenal fan Richie as well. You guys can play straight away here. Alright, that was enough Chess 960 for today. We've got half an hour left in the stream. Enough time for 2 more games, maybe 3, depending. I'm supposed to be playing unusual openings with white. I'm going to start with e4. Okay, Ayeste. Feel free to send me one of your own games, or like, you know, anything, a Grandmaster game. It can be a top game. We could analyze, you know, a Magnus Carlsen game, whatever you want. E4, E5. Okay, let's try the center attack. I unsuccessfully played this once in my life. We've got 0.4 drop frames. That's not too much. We can live with that. You had to manually resub. Oh, Mule Skinner. Yeah, I don't know that the subscription is not automatically renewing. I wasn't aware of that either. Everything else in life is like automatically renewing. Things I don't want are always automatically renewing. Wow, black just played d6. Yeah, the ending's nothing for white, you know, so I have nothing better than to transpose to the Philidor. It's a solid move for black, why not? You know, just avoid the discussion. Trying to play an unusual opening here, a little tricky now. f4. We could play f4. Provocative move against this Philidor setup. Objectively, I don't think this is really correct for white, but it's probably not that bad. It's maybe just like equal instead of white getting a slight advantage if white plays correctly. This is the kind of move like a lot of amateurs would probably play. It's a little bit overly aggressive, I guess. You know, I mean, really you should play knight f3 here. It's not like, you know, anything's wrong with knight c3, but Ayesta trying to get weird himself now with queen f6, double attacking 2 things. You know, and taking is like a blunder, so this is a funny move. Okay, so I guess knight c3 just looks good. This may be some obscure variation after all. c6, knight f3. It just turns into a kind of weird king's gambit, more or less. I think he has to play c6 here. I mean, I don't know what else he would do. I mean, I guess you could play pawn takes d4, knight d5, queen back to d8, and it's not so bad for black. That's an alternative. But it seems weird to like bring the queen out and then put it back. c6 is a normal move. Mule Skinner, thanks for subscribing and for your continued support of the stream. Mule Skinner was away for a while, but he's always been an avid supporter of the stream. Knight d5 not allowed now, so I don't like taking on e5 very much because it brings the black pawn, you know, to a powerful square. It opens up his bishop on f8. Whenever you're playing, you should ask yourself not just about your pieces, what am I doing for my opponent's pieces? I mean, yes, F takes E trades toward the center, which we learn as beginners. That's usually good, but it has some drawbacks. You know, the F takes E. It opens up my bishop, but it opens up his bishop too. What I'm really thinking about here is knight F3. I think this has got to be, you know, fully King's Gambit style. Black is effectively playing a messed up check defense. My first game with black was like a check defense. Now bishop G4. I wonder if this has ever been played before. Okay, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn now starts to look interesting. I can't ignore this forever, but again I open up his bishop. H3 is going to lose the D4 pawn seriously now. So I think we're in a situation where we can no longer just like maintain the tension without doing something. Take, take, take. Alright, I guess we have to let it go. I don't like releasing the tension, but H3, bishop takes F3, looks okay for black. We're going to take, at least this temporarily inconveniences him. It might take him some time to get this pawn back on E5. It's like an Albin counter gambit or something. So the idea now is that he's going to have to play like awkward knight E7, knight G6 to get his pawn back. In the meantime, we can try to devise some sort of threats. Queen E7, bishop G5 is an interesting line. Yeah, okay, I knew this was possible and even likely, but let's see. Pawn takes F6, bishop takes D1, pawn takes G7, bishop takes G7. I mean, I'm up a pawn there. There's definitely a case to be made for that. Also a case to be made for simply taking back on F3 with a development lead. Queen takes F3, or even pawn takes F3. But pawn takes F6, bishop takes D1, pawn takes G7, bishop takes G7, knight takes D1. We're up a clear pawn in an ending. Black might have a little bit of counterplay against my isolated E4 pawn. Alright, whatever. I'm running out of time. This is safe. I have no risk here at all. I don't really want to take with the king, although it might not be that bad. I've got to keep the E4 pawn protected. That's my treasure. My precious. As Golem might say. You can't have my precious pawn, because that's my whole game, basically. The precious. Though we could trade advantages at some point. An exchange of advantages. I've got an extra pawn on D3. He's going for the E4 pressure. That's okay. We can deal. We can definitely deal here. But how to protect it? It's a bit awkward. Well, I guess it's going to incorporate, we've got to incorporate knight F2, you know, at some point. Nice game, Ayesta. I mean, I could put the knight back on C3, actually. It seems kind of counterintuitive, because I'm always being threatened with like bishop takes C3 later, but this keeps control of G4 as well. He's got a little bit of compensation. I don't know that it's enough or not. But interesting game. For a 5-minute game, I think this is pretty well played by both sides. Very provocative. This move, though, I think isn't active enough. You know, he needs to play like knight C5 here. Here he's kind of bordering on just down a pawn, playing rather defensively. But it's still not so easy for me to do anything. Not so easy. Castle queenside. Black could actually play C5. I'm a little worried about that possibility. It wasn't in the position earlier. Okay, I think this is very minimalistic. He's fixing my pawns. I think he misplayed this. Now he doesn't really have enough compensation anymore. So we're happy to be alive. Alright, we're just up a pawn. Should I put my king in the center? I mean, there's still some open lines. So my king may be a little safer on the C line here. Black doesn't have quite enough compensation. He has still a little bit of pressure frontally, but I don't think he played optimally. Of course, it's a fast game. What can he do? I mean, he has to play quick moves. So we've got time for at least one more game, maybe two. Yeah, that's a good idea. C5, I like it. Now the knight can bounce through more good squares. Alright. He's got problems too, though. Oh. Oh no. Not the timeliest move by me. He missed knight f3 there. This is a great move, rook g6, though. Yes, I'm going into total panic mode now. This is not what I intended. We're probably going to lose the extra pawn back. We're losing our extra pawn back. Maybe more. Man, just gets worse and worse. Yes, a fantastic game. Missing knight g4 there. What am I doing? Just blundered my way through this. Now black, he might be better. I'm lucky knight g4, rook takes c5 check works. Am I doing? Faster than me. Damn, dude. Leave me alone. Man, he's not giving me any time to even think. I'm down a pawn. Just dropping everything. Nah, good game, man. You deserve the win, probably, but I'll take the draw. This was a really nice game by Este. I mean, he was winning, definitely. Weird opening, though. This is like a really mistake-filled game by both sides. So f4 has been played. You're supposed to take on d4, but he plays this amazingly creative move here, queen f6. And now compensation for pawn isn't really enough, but I got in time pressure. I played basically fine until here, and here we have this ending where I'm a pawn up, but he still has some compensation. Amazing game, man. I mean, you defended really well. And you missed wins. You missed wins all over the place. There, rook h6 was strong. I blundered here. You have knight g4. Winning material. Anyway, guys, crazy game. I think that's it for the subscribers. Mule Skinner, did you just subscribe? Alright, then we'll play Mule Skinner. This will probably be the last game for today. I'm not sure. If it's long enough, which it probably will be. This will be our last game for today. Thanks for the subscription, Mule Skinner. The rest of you guys, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, that was a weird game, I guess, but you defended like until the pawn down ending, where it's not that easy for me. You know, maybe Anatoly Karpov would grind you down, and it's not that easy. You know, I mean, I'm facing a little bit of compensation. So for a blitz game, I thought it was a decent game. Okay, Mule Skinner, I have to play something. This Santa Sere played this a lot. b4. Bishop g4, I know. That's a good move. I'm basically playing the form of the Polish opening. That was a good game by Este, though. You know, he actually got me in bad time pressure there, and I should have lost to knight g4. I was getting tangled up, trying to hang on to my pawn, and the king was not that safe for me. This is kind of a standard Polish now, but I prefer Mule Skinner to get the bishop outside the pawn chain, though this is okay for black too. The American master Santa Sere, I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure, he played this a lot. He was obsessed with it, like knight f3 b4 every game at one point. But I mean, for me, it's just another St. George. I play the St. George. I've played the St. George on occasion with black, and I definitely play it in the Weird Wednesday stream. A lot of mistakes and inaccuracies last game, but you know, it's a 5-3 game. It's faster than most of the games we're playing today. The time control is 7-3 and some 7-5, 8-3, but that was 5-3 against Ayesta, so the quality is going to be a little bit lower when you play the faster time control. That's why I like the 7-8 minute time controls. We can really play games that are like almost like rapid games in terms of quality. I don't play Bullet because I think it's just a waste of time. I mean, and really fast Blitz like 3-0 isn't really much higher quality. So if you want to play good chess, I want to spend my time. I want to invest my time in playing quality chess and trying to get better. I think the longer time controls are fundamentally better. You know, to force you to think. It's not just about the result, but trying to play quality chess. That's my focus here. Anyway, guys, last game. I'm a little tired. We had the stream last night, viewer tournament. I usually do 2 streams kind of back to back now. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. Tuesday, Thursday nights, and Sunday nights. I do a simul on Sundays. Subscriber stream, Mule Skinner, I do on Thursday nights. I like to include like analyzing games along with the Blitz and classical chess. Now I don't know if I should have. I think I should have maybe considered putting my bishop on b3 here. He's looking at possibly this kind of stuff. It's not the end of the world. I can guard a4 with knight c3. You know, this knight on b6, it's interesting, but it can be misplaced. Yeah, I mean, bullet chess, if you watch these people playing bullet chess, it's very exciting, but it's garbage, you know. I mean, the average Grandmaster bullet game is just, it's just a ridiculous, like, game filled with hanging pieces, you know. I mean, what's the value of that? I don't understand, you know. It's fun. That's the value of it. But as far as getting better at chess, it can improve your tactics a little bit, but there's like zero strategy involved. So we try to play the longer time controls here. Mule Skinner, he's got 117 games played. There was another player who's not been around for a while, Constant Change. He was in the same neighborhood, but I think that Mule Skinner is now the world leading stream player. Lord Ulrich hopes that one day, with what you're learning here, you'll be able to play. Well, I mean, you can always challenge me. It's no shame if you're not that strong yet. Okay. I'm a little fatigued now. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't eat enough breakfast. Knight on bd5. I'm thinking about d3. Black has a plan here, potentially like c6 followed by a5, breaking up my queen side. That's a serious question. Although if I play d3, that could be a serious problem. If I can play b5, it's okay. So there's an argument for not playing d3, I guess. I have the bishop supporting b5. If he tries to play a5, I can always play b5. If c6 and a5, I can play b5. But I've got to watch that plan to kind of break my pawn structure apart. Anyway, queen c2 is a good diagonal. It's a standard square in this type of position. We're delaying this knight. The rook has mobility. Of course, you could play a simple move like knight bd5, knight c3. But I don't really like exchanging pieces when I have a space advantage. And I'm going to potentially have a space advantage when I can advance my e-pawn. His knight on d5 is not, you know, it's not permanently good there. This is a problem. A little problem, not really. Okay, bishop d7. No threat directly with that. Now something like a rook move. Where? Rook e1. Kind of a weird square. Maybe I should go to d1. I had some ideas to play for e4 and drop my bishop back on f1. I can also play rook fc1. Definitely in this position. This is like a hedgehog d3, knight d2, and then e4 at some moment when I can drop my bishop back to f1. I'm meeting a5 with b5. I hope that it's still good. I'm just assuming I can play that. But I hope that there's not like a4, rook a5 surrounding my b5 pawn or something. It doesn't look really realistic for black. He played c5. What is that? Whoa, I just moved back. Sorry. Sorry, guys, to make you spinning. What is this? Whoa. Okay. Mule Skinner, what are you doing? Speculation. Speculation about what he's doing here. Okay. Whoa. Well, I mean, I simply can play d4. And he's going to try to play b6. I could also play bishop d4, but that doesn't really work. So I guess this is forced. I have bishop a6 maybe at some point, attacking his rook. But this is crazy. Maybe he has a b6, bishop a6, rook c7, and I don't have a clear continuation. Maybe I can't hang on to the pawn. Do I have anything else though? I don't know what he's thinking about because he simply doesn't have another move here. Black must play b6. This is the only chance to justify this. So a6, what do I do? e4, maybe e4 is a problem. b6, sorry, e4, and then his knight on f4 is hanging. We have e4, knight f4, bishop a6, followed by queen d2 getting out of the pin, and black probably is lost. It was kind of a crazy plan by black. I mean, to do c5. This is something you need a lot of time to calculate pretty deeply if you can get away with that. He played it kind of like an intuitive sacrifice, it looks like. But so the point is I can get out of the pin, you know, with queen d2. I might have other moves, but this is very simple and safe. So this is the last game. Sorry, you other guys. Hey, Remedy, do I play in any Hungarian team? I do. Yeah, I play in the second division now, and for Honved, well, the team formerly known as Honved, and it's pretty weak now. It got relegated to the second division. I play in the Budapest Team Championship too, for a relatively weak team. All right. But that's all I'm playing in, these team competitions. It just started. I played a game of draw against Andras, Oros Andras. Let's see. That was last Sunday. We're just up a pawn here. Famous last words. Queen a8, maybe. You can play queen a8 with a little bit of play. Queen a8, bishop d3. We're up a central pawn. I mean, this should be clear advantage to white. But yeah. So stop twisting my hair. Okay, dude. This is the Josh Friedel habit. Everybody has mannerisms they do when they're nervous. All right, rook fc8. Friedel would do that non-stop. It was very irritating since he was a little kid. Rook fc8. Good try, queen e8. Black's not actually threatening anything here. We've got a 4-to-1 time advantage. He's not threatening anything. I have a very solid center. everything's in order. Maybe d5 at one point for me. Actually, right away. d5, pawn takes pawn, e5. I guess first we'll play h3. Taking away this square from his knight. Yeah, maybe now he can try like knight h5, I don't know. Something probing the dark squares. He has to do something. My bishop can always go back. Okay, queen a5, that makes sense. I was like, well, he doesn't have any threats, but he does, this move. This is an excellent move, and there's a swinging over here after h3. Not a big deal, but it's something. Is bishop takes a3 a threat? That's a pretty nasty question. So now rook f(c1), where I could have gone anyway long ago, but alright. Rook f(c1), everything's protected. I can trade queens with queen g5 even. Queen g5 trading queens. There's no pressure on my position. Okay, there's take, knight f4, bishop f1. I mean, I can also play bishop f1 straight up. Then he'll stop the trade of queens. So we'll do it this way. I don't see anything for black here. Yeah, if you guys want to send a professional masseuse over, feel free. Alright. You see it all the time in poker tournaments, people getting massaged, but at chess tournaments, I've never seen that. Maybe in Vegas. Maybe in Vegas, I saw a chess player getting a massage at the board. You know, they've got a lot of massage girls in the casino, so I could see that. But otherwise in chess tournaments, never seen happen. Now knight d5. Okay, he's got something with that. But I have knight takes d5. Knight takes d5. What's going on after knight takes d5? I'm a little confused. Pawn takes d5, bishop takes g5 is a really nice resource for black. Here I guess I can just, well, there's always some kind of counterplay. Rook takes. Rook takes. What's actually happening at the end of the day, though? He's basically just trading stuff. We've got our pawn. That's the important thing. I keep thinking I'm like losing a piece, but it's not. It's not losing a piece. Everything's okay. It was very fancy, but a fancy way to lose 2 pawns. Can breathe a sigh of relief now. Last game of the stream. We're up 2 pawns. f6 now. He can drag it out, a little bit of defense. I wonder, can he do something? f6, I thought. This isn't quite as good. My bishop has more squares available. He's got to play b5 now. Knight f4. Damn. Alright, that's not part of the program. Mule Skinner, you're just driving me crazy here. You still have play because of this? Not f6, but you conned me into going to d8, and now you have some tricks. Okay, bishop there. Knight e2 check is okay. He's threatening knight f1 check. So fortunately I can move my king. stopping knight e2 check. Now we go for the knight. Bishop c7. He still has counterplay. Now there I was expecting f5. Now maybe g4. Well, knight f6 isn't that bad. But at least we forced him kind of passive, to a kind of passive position. Great defense by Muleskinner. Down 2 pawns and an ending. He just doesn't quit. Man, that is rough. f5. Got to be winning this somehow. Okay, I just blundered. Like, you had bishop takes, pawn takes, knight d5. Okay, it's hard to see everything with, like, you know, only increments every move. Now he's paralyzed? Not completely. Why didn't I take his knight when I could have? Another sad question. Okay, enough is enough. I think this is a win. Really should be a win. Man, all right, I'm tired. It was a good stream, but I'm getting a little bit hazy on this. Muleskinner, did you ever have anything there? I'm gonna end the stream, guys. Push the pawn. Yeah, I should have just taken his knight a move earlier. This was dumb. I was like, all right, just take on f6. Actually, pushing the pawn is even better. Maybe bishop takes f6 isn't so good. This was good enough. Was Muleskinner ever completely out of the woods in this game? You know, I'm curious about that. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, the pawn stack's pretty crazy. c5. Computer likes c6 and a5, or a5 immediately. c5 was definitely over the top. Rook c8, d4, b6, e4, knight f4, bishop a6, rook c7, queen d2, all best moves, knight g6, c takes b. Here you have like rook c6, that's a weird move. A takes b, knight c3, queen a8, bishop d3, rook c8, h3, best move, queen a5. So it was really a good game until this point. Looks like great play by both sides. Still, I'm up a pawn, though. After this, yeah, knight d5 is like a brilliant defense, dude. Damn, I have to take with a knight. This was all correct. So it looks like here you could have played e takes d, and that's considered to be slightly better. E takes d, rook takes, rook takes. I would have played knight f3 there, but you have knight f4. See, if you do this, rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, you're threatening knight f4, I guess. And bishop takes g5. So I have to play bishop c1 now. It's not that different than the game. I'm up a pawn, and black has a little bit of active pieces to compensate, but it's not quite enough compensation. f6, knight f3, d takes e4, bishop takes e4. I think not an easy win for white, though. Okay, interesting game. Thanks for subscribing, Muleskinner. I will see you guys tomorrow night with our next stream, a subscriber stream on Thursday night. Thanks for the subscriptions. Check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And again, we'll be back Thursday and then Friday morning. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, World Loser, for being here and being our moderator. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.